Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So exactly 2 years ago, I created a video that actually went viral and it was titled, Why Being a Nurse Practitioner is Better Than Being a Bedside RN. So a lot has changed in the past 2 years, and I think it will be a whole lot of fun for us to rewatch the video together. And I'm going to interject throughout the video and add some commentary, add some insight, because my mind has definitely changed about a few things over the course of the past 2 years since making this video. So let's go ahead, let's watch it together, and let's talk about it. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and I'm a family nurse practitioner. I've been a nurse practitioner now for a few years, and talking to some of my fellow coworkers and other bedside nurses, I hear so many who are hesitant about making that transition from being an RN to an NP. So in today's video, I wanted to talk to you about all the reasons why I love being a nurse practitioner more than a bedside nurse. Oh, my baby was a little baby at the time. So as a bedside nurse, I worked in the ICU. So I probably worked in the most autonomous unit for a bedside nurse. But even still, I was limited to what my scope would allow. So I would make suggestions. I would refuse certain orders that maybe I didn't feel comfortable carrying out. I would talk to the doctors. I would be involved in rounds. I was limited. I was so busy carrying out tasks and doing other things, and obviously limited by my scope, that my job didn't include making treatment decisions. So in contrast, now I'm the only provider in my clinic. I have 2 medical assistants that work with me, so I have complete autonomy. I do have a medical director, and she's awesome. She's always available if I have a question about something, or I want her opinion on something. But otherwise, I'm on my own. It's just me and my books, me and my resources. So I would say that having so much autonomy it's really given me a greater sense of confidence. When I first started as a nurse practitioner and I put on that white lab coat, I had imposter syndrome. I felt like, who am I to be making these treatment decisions for these patients? Like, who am I to be, educating somebody about something, or telling somebody they should or shouldn't do something, or prescribing medication? It was definitely a shock. I did not feel confident. I felt like a child wearing this big coat. In the beginning, I absolutely had imposter syndrome. I did not feel right. As I said 2 years ago, I felt like a child with this big white coat on. Now that I have more experience under my belt, I do feel like I'm speaking with some knowledge. And it's not just book knowledge, it's actually experience. So when I'm discussing side effects of medications with patients, or if I'm talking about certain illnesses, I'm not basing it off of what I read in a book. I'm actually basing it off of what I've seen after talking with patients, examining patients, and hearing patient stories. So I would say that real life experience has totally made me more confident in what I'm doing. And I no longer feel like I don't belong. I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I am educating my patients. I know what I'm talking about. I have seen many of the same illnesses and conditions many times over at this point. So I can speak with that confidence because I know what I'm talking about. And having this title that just didn't seem right. But I would definitely say that kind of being thrown into the fire and being on my own and being forced to make some of those decisions when I didn't feel 100% confident definitely helped me build that confidence and helped me feel like, okay, I belong. I'm supposed to be a nurse practitioner. I am totally qualified to be making these decisions, and this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. So it's been awesome. All right, so I'm going to sound like a little bit of a negative Nancy with number 2, but it is what it is. So number 2 is more respect. So I think all bedside nurses know, and I know because I had many, many years of bedside nursing experience, we all know that we get treated like maids and servants, okay? There's no respect there. You hear so much, oh, thank you for being a hero, and thank you for caring for people and whatnot. But inpatient, it's a different story. You don't feel that appreciation. You don't feel that true level of I'm grateful, for what you're doing for me. Bedside nurses are just so underappreciated, and it's not right. but that's just something that I didn't really see changing. It's something that we just learned to kind of cope with. When you're working at the bedside, you're just like, hey, this is the nature of the game. You learn to grow thick skin, but a part of me really wonders if I did not go back to school to pursue becoming a nurse practitioner, would I still be at the bedside? And I can pretty confidently say, I don't think so. I think I probably would have transitioned over to like an outpatient clinic, or pursued like aesthetic nursing or something along those lines. But working at the bedside, I think at this point, I possibly, and it's very likely that I probably would have been burnt out. I can totally understand the plethora of nurses that I'm seeing on the internet talking about why they quit nursing. I wouldn't necessarily quit because my passion is nursing, but I definitely would transition to a different role at this point, I'm pretty sure. I kind of felt like it was kind of a toxic kind of environment. Like, why do I have to have thick skin when I'm at work? It comes with the territory, but I shouldn't feel like I have to have thick skin coming to work. This is somewhere that I'm spending the majority of my time. So to have to deal with that at work, the lack of respect from not only the doctors, but patients and family members as well, it was just too much. So let me give you the other side of things. So now, having experienced both, I would definitely say that for the most part, I do feel like I have that respect as a nurse practitioner. And patients actually value my opinion. And this is in contrast to when I was a bedside nurse. Patients would ask me questions. I would give them a very thorough explanation of everything. And then after I'm done, I'm off my soapbox, they would say, oh, let me speak to the doctor about that. And no, I'm not knocking any doctors, but like the resident would come into the room and say the exact same thing that I just finished explaining to the patient. And they'd say, oh, okay, doctor, as if what I said just in one ear and out the other. It was like so frustrating. Now patients respect what I have to say. They listen, sometimes comply. It just seems like they're actually listening when I educate them. And I would say that it's just nice to be treated with respect and appreciation. All right, next up on the list. Actually, this might be like the most important one. It's petty, but it's like the most important one. No drama. So working at the bedside, I think, was like a soap opera. Every shift. Between, nurses arguing about assignments, who's got the harder set, who's got the easiest set, who didn't go to CAT scan, who didn't put a label on some tubing, who didn't empty their canisters. I've seen emotional breakdowns at the nurses station. I've seen full-on arguments. I've seen people cursing each other out. I think I've witnessed everything at work. So if you're the type of person that kind of thrives in that environment and you love the drama, you live for the drama, then more power to you. But that's just not me. I like to come to work, do my job, and go home and live my real life. Work does not consume my life. I can't necessarily say no drama because when you're working with, no offense, but when you're working with a group of women, you're working with a lot of different personalities. And something that I've realized is at all jobs, there's usually one, at least, if you're lucky, there's one bad seed. And usually that person has the ability, unfortunately, to change the culture of the whole office, the whole clinic, the whole establishment in general. And I have encountered that as a nurse practitioner as well. So drama free, no. Different drama, yes. And now that I am coming from a place of authority, and by authority, I mean the clinic quite literally cannot run if the provider, me, is not there. So I would say that on the hierarchy list, I'm very high up on that list. So I am treated with more respect. And I would say people probably have to think twice before involving me in petty drama. Okay. And I address it differently than I did when I was working at the bedside because I was working with other peers. Now the dynamics are a lot different, and I'm grateful for that, right? My opinions are taken into consideration, whereas before they weren't necessarily. In general, I would say there is a whole lot less drama because I'm working with a whole lot less people. And for the most part, I'm pretty independent and I don't get caught up in the drama from the medical assistants, for instance. So, how do I navigate the drama that does go on in the clinic? I try to just stay out of it as best as I can. And if there is something petty that's going on, or somebody takes issue with something that I'm doing, I analyze it and I try to decipher if this is worth my time to address. And I shut it down immediately. Okay. I address things immediately. And if it's something that I feel is quite honestly beneath me, I ignore it. Work is not life for me. Life is life and work is work. And I like to kind of keep those separated. So, coming from that standpoint, you can understand why I just can truly appreciate not having any drama at work. I spend so much time formulating treatment plans for my patient. I'm calling patients back with test results. I'm seeing patients that walk into the door. I'm providing excellent care. So, I mean, that alone disqualifies me from being involved in any drama anyway, because I'm too busy. And I can appreciate that because it helps my shift go by faster. And I just don't have time. I ain't got time to be dealing with nonsense at work. So, I just love it. My final reason for appreciating being a nurse practitioner more than a bedside nurse is finally being treated like an adult. So, as a bedside nurse, I was forced to work every other weekend. I had to clock in. Not a minute later, it was the end of the world. I couldn't necessarily just, take days off when I had some kind of an emergency. I had to call in, and then there are consequences for that as well. I think there was just an unnecessary emphasis placed on very petty, minuscule things. So, in contrast, let's say I have a doctor's appointment, or I have something that I want to do with my kids, or I have a family day planned, or if me and my husband are going out of town. The scheduler asks me if I have any days that I absolutely can't work. I let them know, and they just don't schedule me on those days. So they treat me like an adult, and they actually understand that, oh, I have a life. Oh, I have a family. I still agree with this. I am still treated like an adult. There's literally, since making this video over the past 2 years, only been one occasion where I felt like, okay, we're not going to be doing this. And that was, there was an email that was sent out to everyone in the clinic, including the providers, saying that we should not be on our phones while we're at work. And I really analyzed that email and I disregarded it because, okay, I have kids, I have family that's ill. There's no way you're going to tell me that I can't use my phone at work. It's just not going to happen. So I simply disregarded. But aside from that, this still stands true. If I'm running late for work and I clock in a few minutes late, not a big deal. If I want to go on vacation or just take some time off of work, understood. So this definitely stands true. I do not miss the petty issues that went on at the bedside. I do not miss it whatsoever. And I know that some of these things are still going on because I just interviewed an ICU nurse and she told me that there's still drama and mean girls and the petty things, that still go on. So I don't miss that at all. And I do love being treated like an adult because I am one, okay? Oh, I have children, I have things going on. I decide when's the best time for me to see my patients. I have discretion over how the flow of my day goes. So at the end of the day, as long as my notes get signed and I bill correctly for my services, I have the flexibility to kind of structure my day how I see best fit. And I have the flexibility to not have to worry about the petty things. And I can truly appreciate that. That's something that I did not have as a bedside nurse. Okay, so these were my top 4 reasons why I love being a nurse practitioner more than a bedside nurse. So please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you're a bedside nurse, what do you think about this video that I made 2 years ago? If you're a nurse practitioner, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.